How's it going? I'm Josh Uminski, and I am here with Elizabeth Roby. How's it going?
It's going great.
Good.
Excited to be here chatting with you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. So who is Elizabeth?
Oh man, Elizabeth is a lot of things. so, uh, a lot of hobbies, a lot of different things that I've tackled, a lot of jobs. I'm an athlete. I do a lot of sports, fitness, things like that. I'm also a mom, which is
Okay.
probably my biggest role of all
That's the most
time.
important one.
Right. Yep. He'll be 5 next month. So it's a big age. I feel like that we're hitting. It's,
Yeah.
milestone. And just, he's having a lot of fun. He's big into fitness now too,
Okay.
which is pretty fun. He works out with me at this one studio. And then in the morning, I usually get a wake up call like, let's go, let's work out. And I'm like, I started a beast. But
What time does he usually would get up?
7.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're not too bad.
No,
He
that's so
sleeps
early for like a kid. Like that's
yeah, 7:30 to 7 is pretty much his bedtime, and he
Okay.
does pretty good with that. Every once in a while, he comes in early, and he's like, "Hey, let's hang out." Yeah.
So hobbies. So what hobbies do you have, or do you like?
Yeah. So I was an art minor in college.
Okay, I
My
did not know that.
dad's an artist. My grandpa and my great grandpa were all artists. So, hobby when I have time for it. I would say I don't have a ton of time right now, but when I do wood burnings. And I've sold those at craft shows and things like that. So it's
Okay.
pretty fun.
So what goes into wood burning? So I
Yeah.
dig art, like I do pastels.
Okay.
Was always my thing, but wood burning I've never.
Yep. So in college, mine was watercolor. I love painting with watercolor, but I wanted something that if I were going to sell it, not a lot of people were doing, and that was wood
Yeah.
burning. Now it's more popular, but basically it's just a very hot, like kind of soldering tool almost.
Okay.
And then I do freehand right into the wood. So I do all kinds of things like portraits, mostly animals. I hate portraits stress me out because I am so stressed that it doesn't look like them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like
How
when
do
I
you do
get
like the shadowing and everything with that?
yeah, so it's all temperature controlled. So I have a
Okay.
dial. It's like on a machine. It's all temperature controlled. Like I can turn it down a little bit. It makes it a little lighter of like a shadow,
Okay.
and then I can make it hot as heck and get it pretty dark. So
Okay.
yeah,
That's always
it's
been
pretty
my
fun.
thing with portraits. I can never do the shadowing right. So like I can do the face, but then it just looks like
Yeah.
2D, not 3D, I guess.
Yep.
Is that the right way
And
to put
the
it?
biggest thing is like start very light on the shadows just to get like the idea when I'm looking at the picture, and then go back in and just make it darker. But it takes a while. I haven't done portraits in a while. I like a lot of landscapes, maybe like places I've gone to, travel, things like
Okay.
that.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. And then traveling's a big hobby.
Okay. Where's your favorite place you've been?
So I actually went to Africa for a couple months.
Okay. What part?
South Africa. It's called Lesotho, which is in South Africa, but it's like got its independence, so it's kind of in the middle, and then South Africa is like all right here.
Okay.
So I went there during school, and I was the artist on the trip, so I got to do a bunch of murals and things like that. Worked with a lot of kids. The orphan rate there is like 40% due to AIDS and HIV. So we did a lot of important kind of stuff for the children
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, head of the household was 14 years old sometimes, so
That's crazy.
they needed some support, and that's what we were there for.
Yeah.
And they're still like happy as can be, just loving life, enjoying it. When I was there is when Michael Jackson died, and that was a big moment for them.
My-
Yeah.
So Michael Jackson was one of my favorites growing up. So I
Uh-huh.
remember I was driving to softball and it came over the radio.
Mhm.
Like it's one of those
It's big.
times
It's
where
big
you
time.
don't forget where you're at kind of thing.
Exactly.
So
It's like Kobe when
yeah,
Kobe.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was the same thing. We got delayed news just because of how it works there. We didn't really have TVs or anything like that, but eventually someone heard and then passed it along the grapevine, and then it was quite a moment for a couple of days for people. So they
Yeah.
idolized him for sure.
I can see why, like
Yep.
over the years and everything he did and everything. So
hmm
so you went over as an artist, you said, for it.
Yeah.
So what, like when you're going over there, what does that entail? Like what is the purpose of that?
So when I went over there, I did more than just the artwork,
Right,
but because I had that background,
Yeah.
when it came to like the painting and all of that, we would help build community centers.
Mm-hmm.
So some of it might have been murals in some of the
Okay.
rooms or something like that.
Gotcha.
Getting the kids involved painting a little bit too was a lot of fun. I also painted a school. And then one of probably the biggest projects was a therapy center for kids. They would go and like just be able to talk to somebody and have
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah.
And what they wanted to do on one of the back walls where they would go to have some of these sessions is just kind of paint their life, like their dad in the fields or like, something like that to kind of engage some emotion and open them up to talk, and
Okay.
it's something that they can relate to. So I got tasked with. I kind of felt it was hard for me because I don't really know their day to day other than like what I saw. So I actually got like 4 kids in and was like, tell me about everything, and then just sketched it out. And I just had them help me paint it too,
Okay.
because why not? But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I did a big, somewhere over there, there's a big mural of just a day in the life of
Okay.
them with their family. And yeah, so that's a lot of what I did from the painting perspective.
Okay. Cool.
hmm
That makes sense. So you've been to Africa.
Yep.
Where's like the one place you want to go that's like on your bucket list?
I really want to go to Ireland.
Okay.
I would love to go to Asia at some point too. So I've been to like Europe, Africa, of course. I've been to like Central America, South America. Now I would love to do the culture thing in Asia because it's so different. I would have a lot of fun with that. But I would say short-term goal, I can get over to Ireland a little easier.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
short-term goal, Ireland, long-term goal, Asia.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
Ireland's on my bucket list in London. Like I
Mhm.
love the idea of like going through the little old towns and
Yep.
the pubs and all that kind of stuff.
The goal, hopefully, if all works out in the fall, we'll go to Paris, London, and Ireland.
Okay.
That's and hopefully when the Browns play when they're in London.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when we get it
yeah.
tuned up.
Yeah.
Not that we're going for them, but
Yeah.
they
That-
broke our hearts too many times
Too
to pay
many
that money
times. Too
to
many
go
times.
for them. But
Yeah. Um, so how did you get into real estate?
So I got into real estate actually through my aunt. She was an agent for Remax, and I was kind of buying property. I bought my first house in London, Ohio, a small home, and just worked on like fixing it up. We redid the kitchen, all kinds of stuff, and I just slowly did it myself. My grandpa was like one of my babysitters who was a
Okay.
woodworker, so it taught me a lot of things. And then that kind of like I don't know if I would go all the way and say it's a flip, but like that mentality of buying something, transforming it, and then like passing it off got really exciting for me. And then I just wanted to slowly like build some capital. So when I was doing that, she was my agent. And I started thinking, well, if I keep doing this, it's going to be cheaper for me to be an agent
Yeah.
than pay my aunt. Sorry, aunt. And she, kind of gave me that nudge of you have the personality for it. I think you'd be great. And if you join my team, this could kind of get your foot in the door. So that's what we did. And then about a year in, I talked with Berkshire Hathaway, who we're with now. And I like the idea of maybe going a little more individual. I love that we have like a relocation department that's specialized in that. It just gave another like level to my business. And so I kind of jumped ship on her a little bit, but
Yeah.
wanted to have that individual role in the best place that I thought was possible. So I'm happy to be home there for 6 years now, which is pretty great.
Good. So
Yeah.
what do you find most enjoyable about real estate? Like you started,
hmm
the fixer up kind of thing, and
Yep.
now you're selling. So how did that transpire?
I think, I started helping some friends of family, and that was great, just finding them a new home and getting them in there. But I'll say, like, when I started doing, I was helping a lot of first time home buyers. There was at the time, and I don't know that they have it anymore, a Chase program where there was a lot of first time home buyers.
Okay.
And I started getting them into their first homes, and that was done deal for me. I was way into that. They were, sometimes that home feels like a pipe dream because it's,
Yeah.
maybe they're not finding the home for them, or they want to build up more savings. And there were some people I worked with, let's say this year, and they weren't ready until a year and a half. But when they were, that was a pretty beautiful moment
Right.
to get that house and see them settle into it and just be so happy to have their space that they work on as an asset. So that sold it for me. I mean, I like people who have bought before. Love working with them too. But,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Well, and I always tell everyone, because people are always like, well, I love helping people. I love doing this for people.
hmm
And yes, I do like helping people. But once I got into it and started going, it became more transactional to me. I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, like how do we build an actual business and that? But to your point, there's nothing better than like that first time home buyer who didn't
Absolutely.
think they could buy a house when you hand them those keys.
hmm
And like some of them start crying, and it's so rewarding to know, okay, you just made somebody's dreams come true.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Absolutely. And kind of on the flip side, so that's at the start of the journey. I also had a lot of people who were downsizing and hadn't sold property in a long time, and kind of that older community that I could help as well. And it was fun because I would get hands on and be like, "We're cleaning up your yard today."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
especially toward the beginning when I wasn't as busy, I was like, "We're trimming those, we're doing this, we're doing that." So I really enjoyed that too. And in fact, my first listing, this is kind of a crazy story. My broker at the time handed it off to me without like, this is total coincidence. So my broker handed it off to me, and I started talking to the seller, and I'm like, man, this address, it seems familiar to me. It was a great ranch, like right by Hayden Run Road,
Okay.
had an acre, which is like perfect amount of property for a lot of people, surrounded by these majestic horses that were around. It was just he was doing some work to like get it up to like sell. But I kept saying like, I've seen this home before. I think I've been in this home. And sure enough, when I started looking at like previous owners, my great uncle built that home. Isn't
Get
that
outta
wild?
here. Yeah.
Yeah. So my great uncle built that home, and then my other one, my great aunt and uncle built the one behind it, and it just became like this family area. And I'm like, man, I think
Yeah, yeah.
but it would have been so long ago that I'd been in there. So it was trippy. It was like, wow. And I got to, during one of my open houses, my great uncle got to come through and check it out. So
That's really cool.
yeah,
Really cool.
it was fun. It was fun.
That similar kind of is one of the moments, like I have a couple, okay, you made it moments
Mhm.
in this business because it's hard, the
It's
failure
very
rate and
hard.
everything. But one of them was I was showing a house for the second time. Like I had showed it 4 or 5 years earlier when it was
Mhm.
on the market, and now it was coming back on the market again. That those people who bought it were
Okay.
selling it. So I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this long
This is
enough now
full
that I'm
circle.
showing the same house twice.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I had that moment too. It was actually relocation. I got a buyer and sold them the house, and then a few years later, they called me back up and they said, "We got to sell now," and got to help them with that. So yeah, it's neat when you're like, I've been here that long for that kind of full circle moment.
Yeah.
Which yeah,
yeah,
a lot of in between that too. But it's been a experience that I've enjoyed. That's frustrating at times, can be stressful, but at the end of the day, it's
yeah.
pretty enjoyable.
What do you find some of the most stressful things about it are?
Um,
Like for
I,
me, it's the schedule and like timing and
Yeah,
everything.
schedule can be super tough, especially if you have limited opportunities to show some homes, or in the weekend you have multiple clients that are wanting to go. Sometimes, because I say I'm all Central Ohio, sometimes they're going North Columbus and these are going south.
Yeah, yeah,
And just like how you map out your day of showings, that can be really tricky. And then just making sure you keep them all straight. Like, I write tons of notes, like this one
yeah,
had this and this one had that. So that's pretty tough. Making sure I set the right expectations ahead of time was a stressor at first, but now I've learned the ropes on all of that, to make sure that me and the buyer or seller were totally aligned.
right,
There's no,
right.
there might be surprises, but there's not many. And like, especially in this market, setting the expectation of, you know, interest rates, or what a $400,000 home might have been 2 years ago and now what it is
Yeah,
today.
I think that
That's
setting those
tough.
expectations are so important because there's so many agents who just they want to get the deal,
Mm-hmm.
so they go with the flow, and it's really a disservice to their clients because they're not actually guiding them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just letting them guide, and really, we're the professionals. Like so,
Yeah.
setting those expectations and everything, I think, is so important.
Mm-hmm. That happened. I had a listing appointment and I was excited about it. I actually knew this person, so I had like some background with them. And they had another agent come in for an appointment that said, "Oh, I have a buyer for you." It's like, "You need to go with me. I have a buyer for you." And ended up putting the home on the market. And I was like, well, if they have a buyer, what do they need to put it on the
Yeah,
market
yeah.
for? So now they're going to try to get someone else, but they already have buyers. So I was like a little confused by that. And sure enough, they got listed. The buyer somehow disappeared.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're on the market for a couple months and it's not sold. And, I like to think that I would have done things differently. But I've learned some lessons early on about what type of agent I wanted to be too. And that was one of them, that I always want to make sure that I'm transparent. I'm giving them, like we've said, the expectations. And yeah, I wouldn't want that kind of surprise. Oh, I had a
Yeah.
buyer. Now I don't. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
it's always good to give. I try and give best case scenario and worst case scenario,
Mhm.
or here are is option A, B, and C, and then let them pick.
Absolutely.
But you're educating them and helping them through the process.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, they do have to be in the driver's seat a little bit at times, but like you got to be a strong, loud Google Maps,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
directing
yeah,
them.
yeah.
It's up to them to kind of like follow after that. But yeah, it's been a learning
Yeah.
journey.
And the like scheduling showings and stuff, that's an art.
It
Like I
really
don't think
is.
people realize how tough that is. And it's like you look at maps and stuff and you have to plan out. Now it's starting to come back, but over the past couple of years, you only have a house or two to show. But like
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, you'd have 6 or 7 houses you could show.
Yep.
And it's like mapping out, okay, I know this dead end here, there's a red light here, or we're never going to be able to make a left turn here.
Yeah.
So we have to look at this house before this one.
Yep.
So, and it would take an hour just to map out, showings and stuff
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So
I
that
yeah, I
it's an
had
art.
I had a client that like wanted to go to Circleville, New Albany, I think a home in London, and like it was quite a map to do for sure. And
Yeah. And
it
then
does become an
schedule like
art.
the timing of it. Because
Mm-hmm.
some people look through a house in like 10 minutes and you have other people
Yeah.
who will take 50 minutes, which is totally fine.
Uh-huh.
But when you're looking at multiple houses or like across the city, you're like, all right, how do I time?
Yeah.
It takes
You have
X
to
amount
kind
in
of
between
overlap and
houses.
get long
Yeah.
windows if you can.
Yeah.
But I've had it like where the buyers walked in and went, no. Immediately, and I'm
Yeah.
like, well, can you at least look at it for 20
Yeah.
minutes?
Yeah. Yeah. Or the opposite where they walk in and they say, yeah, we hate this, but they still want to see the whole house. And you're like, well, you said you hated it. We
Yeah.
have 4 other houses to look at. So let's
Yeah,
skedaddle.
it was even worse in COVID, if you remember, because we couldn't do overlapping
Yeah.
showings. So you often only had 30 minutes and you had to make sure that you like got there for it.
Yeah.
You couldn't really do long windows where you could have overlap. That was a time.
Yeah. I remember the very first house I walked into after like all the COVID stuff came out and was
Mhm.
announced. And you always smell houses,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the first time that like I sat there and was like, what am I breathing in? Because you
Uh-huh.
could smell it, but we didn't know how it was like, what was happening with COVID, what it was.
Yep.
Like, am I going to die because I'm breathing in, their dog smell or whatever this is that I'm bringing in?
Right. There were
So,
too many unknowns during that
yes,
time. I
yeah.
was wiping down my groceries.
So was I. So was I.
So,
My wife made fun of me for weeks until
right.
then I had a buddy get COVID and I was with him for like the whole day before. I'm like, and I didn't
Mhm.
get it, but I still had to quarantine for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'm like, this is crap.
What a time! What a
So,
time to be alive.
Yep. And then after that, I stopped wiping down the groceries and everything.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Then it became kind of a little unpredictable. So.
yeah. So, what's one of your favorite stories you have? And this, I'm putting you on the spot. So if you
Mhm.
take a minute to think about like favorite stories of helping somebody that you have.
Favorite story of helping someone. I have a pretty easy answer for that. So there was an older gentleman who was in a senior facility and he just wanted a house like for his last few years. That's like all he wanted was to be in a house. He didn't want to, sorry to say, pass away
Yeah.
in a facility. He's like, I just don't. Like, I want a porch. I want to sit out. I want to have my space. And it was super important to him. He also was engaged, actually. And so he wanted something that he could pass along to her as well. So it was super sweet. But in that older community, like, he didn't have a computer and didn't really know how to work technology. He had an email. But, getting signatures was a little tougher. And he lived out, it was Lancaster. So he lived out in Lancaster at this facility. And it was a lot of back and forth. And it was interesting because when I first got him as a client, I was kind of told that he's going to be tough.
Yeah.
This is going to be a tough guy.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be prepared. You got to have some thick skin. I was told that a few times. And I get there and you just got to learn how to relate to him, So I'm looking in the corner and I'm seeing like tractors and things. And, I softened him up because my grandpa was a dairy farmer. And so I started talking about farming, how I was like on a dairy farm growing up and all of that. And then it's like walls come down. You're not just there to like get their money or anything like that, But him and I created such a bond in that experience. And because I was having to go back and forth, kind of taking my laptop to help him with like some of the paperwork, we became kind of fast friends.
Yeah.
And he would call me, and if he needed something, I'd help him. And he needed to get documents for his lender. I'd help him do that. Like I just kind of became his buddy. And, he might have been tough with other people there, but once I rolled up, he was like, Elizabeth, it's you. So I would say that was one of my favorites just because I got to just really help him from A to Z, like end to end. And he didn't really have anybody able to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So to see him finally in that home was pretty awesome.
That is a very cool story.
Yeah.
And it's it's funny how most of the time when everyone says they're going to be the toughest, those are the easiest ones.
Yeah.
And the easy ones always end up being the toughest ones.
It's true. And he actually didn't, just because of everything, he couldn't really see all the homes either. So his fiance came with me to a lot of them. And he really didn't see much of the home that he bought, if I'm honest. But that's also kind of the sign of the times. Like there were people doing videos and things like that.
Yeah.
Like FaceTiming to see the home. So he saw snippets of it and liked what he saw. And then it was amazing to get the call afterwards of, I just love it. And I'm so happy. And I can't wait to just like spend days here. And thank you so much. That was like, he's my dude.
Yeah. I helped a guy buy about like a $50,000 house. I think it was $55,000 in Newark. He was a grave digger, which I thought was like one of the coolest things
That's
ever.
interesting.
Yeah.
My parents do headstones, so
Okay.
they might know each other.
Yeah. But he was so thankful afterwards because he's like, you treated me like I was buying $1 million house. Like not for 1 second did you make me feel belittled or anything like that.
Yeah.
So and those are like the most rewarding.
And to them,
deals.
it is a big home. It's a big move to go from a living facility where you're assisted and, you know, a lot of things that you're doing there to then I'm going to be solo, I'm going to be independent, and I'm going to do this for myself and for the people that I love around me. It's a big move. It's a bold move, and he did awesome. I was proud of him.
Good.
Yeah.
So dairy farm.
Yeah.
So I worked in a dairy before I was in real estate.
Oh, boy.
So we didn't have like cows and stuff. Like it was shipped in, but we put them in the milk jugs, everything. Went through all the stuff. Yeah.
Where did you get like the product from?
I have no idea. I just showed up every day. Went
have
back
you ever
to the
milked
back.
a cow?
No.
I haven't either. I was very small. It was my grandpa's farm. So like I was very small when I was bopping around there. But.
Yeah. But I thought it was crazy. So like they'd fill the milk jugs up and there'd be all these machines and it would go through real fast. But then one of our jobs, because I was just like general labor, like there had been guys there for 30 years and stuff, was we literally would stand there and just twist the milk caps to make sure they were secure.
No way.
So somebody would do that for 8 hours, like a shift.
That's
yeah,
good.
you would just turn them like real little, and then because some of them would come off loose.
What a job.
Yeah, so we would rotate because you'd stand there and I'd like start falling asleep, just turning milk. But
I was gonna say too, if you're like really trying to make sure your like palm will get tight.
Yeah, and it's just all the technology in the world, and that's an actual job.
That's one thing they have to manually do.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. That's wild.
So dairy, where was the dairy farm at?
London. Yeah,
Okay.
right outside of London. It was my grandpa's farm, and he had a bunch of cows, always did. And we joke because, like, I have a cow lick, and I did get licked by a cow. Like, oh, yeah. So we joke that that's where it came from. But he had a farm, and then right around the corner, his mom had one, too. So we bought back and forth, me and my brothers, on our bikes. And she was usually baking something, and he was making jokes on this side. So it was fun. My dad, like I said, did monuments. They have a monument business, and he started from our garage floor with business and then started to move up, and he ended up starting to work on out of one of the barns at my grandpa's farm. So that put me there a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah. But at that time, the cows at that point had moved on. He was like, all right, I'm older. Like,
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready for a break because that's a rough schedule, the milking and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I didn't get the nitty gritty, but it was still fun to be around it when it was around.
Yeah, I was always amazed because of the dates. So like the dates on different milk jugs and stuff. Like different states have different rules. So it would be like we'd be shipping to New York City, but it would be the same exact milk. Like that expiration date would be a week earlier than milk that was going someplace else. I'm like, that's the same milk. Why is that expiring a week before that one? But
that's interesting.
So yeah, the only thing I could figure out is that like the state regulations or something only allow you to have it for so long. But it was always fascinating.
When we
like
know you have it in
jugs.
your fridge for a lot longer.
yeah, like brands. So we'd ship to like Walmart, and it would be the same exact milk, but just in a different jug than going someplace else that made it look like it was something completely different, but literally same milk.
Yeah. You might feel this way too because you have kiddos, but the milk like Fairlife that can be on the shelf for a long time versus like Kroger brand that's going to be donezo in 4 days.
I actually was just looking at that because we have some Fairlife in our fridge for Emerson, and I was looking, I was like, it's still good for a whole other month.
Forever, and it doesn't like spoil like the other milk.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's all the science behind it, but that's another one that it's like, okay, why? How?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So you out in London, where
Yep.
where are you now?
Now I'm in Powell, Ohio.
Okay.
So I lived for a few years, Delaware, close-ish to like Lewis Center, Powell. So I've always kind of been in that bubble the last, I'd say 6 years or so.
Okay.
And then, yeah, now I'm in Powell. Love Powell. It's just booming right now. Actually, a guy that I had a connection to years ago, his name's Sean Hughes. He's the economic director there now. He was Delaware, did amazing things there. Now he's with Powell. And I'm just like watching his LinkedIn posts nonstop. And the things that they're doing with Powell is amazing. Now I have a Kroger Marketplace going in right across from me that I can walk to, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Powell and Delaware too. And then I've been watching Sunbury. It's like that northern.
Sunbury's super cute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Big Walnut, like the school, I'd never heard of it before. Now it feels like everyone's sending their kids to Big Walnut. I'm like, all right, what's going on up there?
It's a weird, okay, so around there it's really weird and trippy how they have all the school kind of zones. So like Scioto Reserve, for example, it's Powell, but it's toward Delaware. And they have basically half the neighborhood that's Olentangy schools. And then they have the other half, which is Big Walnut, which like doesn't necessarily always make sense. And then same with the Olentangy schools. There's like 5 billion of them now. They're all great. But like a neighborhood could be split on who they go to and where they're going. And so I've learned a lot about that.
Yeah, and that's always my fear when people ask, well, we want this specific school. Like, you guys don't buy a $500,000 or $600,000 house just based off that, because that could change next year if they decide to build another school 100%. Or they rezone and you're right on the edge.
Especially out in Olentangy. However, I will say they're all highly rated. I don't know that you can necessarily go wrong, but I mean, it happens a lot. The rezoning
and I was always so confused in Westerville. So like Westerville Central is more north than Westerville North. Like it's Westerville South, Westerville North, and then Westerville Central. Yeah. And it's like, okay, in my brain, that doesn't make, like, why didn't you just call it like Westerville something else? Why do you have to be Central?
Yeah, that like, I feel like that's changed a little bit too lately. I played on a softball summer team for Westerville called Westerville Ice. And at that time, I was playing with a lot of athletes from those schools. But I feel like those names changed. I just knew a lot of Westerville South for the most part. But
so when I moved down here, Westerville South, so I went to Canton South.
Oh, yeah.
Were the Wildcats. Same exact like cat logo.
Really?
That Westerville South has.
You're like, I'm home.
Red, gray, and black. Yeah. So when I was at Ohio State, when I graduated, I think it was like 175 or 177 kids. So we knew everyone. So I'm down here and I see these people wearing South stuff, and it's like the same logos. I'm like, who are these people? So it took me like 2 or 3 years to realize that there's like a whole nother school down here that's called South that looks exactly the same.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, there's all the schools trying to figure out who goes where. It's there's even more schools are popping up now, honestly.
Yeah.
Elementary, doesn't matter if it's a high school or not, elementary, middle school. But yeah, even downtown Powell, they're putting in all kinds of stuff. The restaurants are awesome.
Yeah. So I'm assuming Powell's your favorite area.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's tough to get into at certain prices, but they're doing really well as far as, I even saw him on his page, like polling for what the community wants to see and things like that. Or, for their parks, they're doing a lot with that. So I'm enjoying being in that just because I'm a mom and I have a kid that loves to swing and climb on playgrounds and all that, and have events. So I really enjoy that they get the community involved in kind of making some of those decisions. So I love it for that. But I also love, there's a lot of surrounding areas in Central Ohio that I've sold in or lived in or got to know. And I think that it's just become a pretty neat place to live. Like there's even some of the areas that maybe at one point weren't doing quite well or had a high crime rate, let's say. Yeah. Those are even starting to come around and be worked on, and just you see some investment happening in those areas. So it's hard to pick a favorite because I have some small towns that I absolutely love too. Yeah.
Well, and I tell everyone not to sleep on Reynoldsburg. Like it is coming back so hard. Yeah.
And Pickerington right over there. I know that's bigger. But like Pickerington and Reynoldsburg, those are good areas. Those are cool.
Yep. So you said small towns. What are some of your favorites? Or small areas around Columbus, I'm assuming? Yeah,
small areas around, and like I grew up in London, so I'm used to that small town vibe and feel. I think Urbana is a small town. Okay. That's outside of London. That's really like booming a little bit. It's a little closer to Springfield, so not necessarily like Columbus MLS, but they're investing into their downtown. Plain City, where we are right now, their downtown is getting super cute. I went to the Granary for the first time, which is like a little restaurant, but it's also set up for tons of live music. And they had $20 bottomless mimosas. There's my plug for them. They didn't pay me for that plug, but so that was like fun. They also have some little shops that are newer, and I lived my grandpa lived in between London and Plain City. It's London. So, like, I've gotten to know Plain City. And it's the same as Delaware. These were all, like, farm towns. Like, it wasn't booming and popping like it is now. So, it's been interesting just to see the evolution, especially in Delaware. It was, like, all farm. And now to see it really, like, embrace that college town. But then in the summer, you totally get just, like, take the family down there for a good dinner and walk around, too.
Yeah, and
it's got both.
Was just in Canton yesterday, the day before. And it's cool to see its downtown is like coming back alive. And it almost reminded me of like our age, going off to college, going to a bigger city, taking that and then moving back home and like investing in their downtowns and the businesses and everything.
I'm seeing that a lot with London. If I see like different moves or developments happening, or, you know, someone wants to start something, I'm like, oh, I went to school with them.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of people that go back and like want to make a difference in that small town. So we're trying to like keep it sustainable. It's been one of those towns where a lot of people move there because it's cheaper, but maybe work in Columbus. So that pulls some of that money toward Columbus still. Like, let's say they're getting dinner after work or something like that. So I think, you know, we've had a lot of restaurants come and go, but now they've got some leadership in there that I think are making the right moves, and we're seeing some things stick around.
I think that's key. That's so Canton again. That's my fear, that they're doing all these nice things, but no one really lives downtown. So it's like, how much can you sustain those businesses?
You got to draw in from other areas. You got to make sure that the people are coming to you to, you know, we had this bakery, and we've had bakeries come and go since I was a kid. And now Valerie's Farmhouse is out in London, and it's amazing. The cinnamon rolls are massive, and the coffee's really good. But they're doing well and even growing. Like, they were in a bigger shop now. So I know that it's like definitely getting stronger. I'm a little nervous because Starbucks is supposed to open now in London, but I think like with that group, they're gonna like to still go to Valerie's too, and she's got a drive-through now. So
So are you a Starbucks fan, or if you're getting coffee, where do you go?
I'm looking for a small shop. I like Starbucks for like a quick hit. I'm also, and a lot of people have gotten on me about this, I'm a Celsius drinker. And I coach fitness, so I'm like energy.
That's nonstop.
So I wouldn't say I drink coffee a lot, but when I do, I like trying different kinds. So I would say a smaller shop in Columbus. One Line is like one of my favorites. And they have this, I'm waiting for it. Summer's coming up. It's like an orange juniper latte that I will hit up multiple times. So I'm excited for that. And then Jennings actually is out toward you, kind of east side. They have what's called the Bear, and it's a banana bread latte. It's like their specialty. It's just, it knocks me out of the park every time. It's like, it's awesome.
And where's that at?
So I'm trying to remember where exactly. It's like 10 minutes from Bexley, and I know that because I did a workout class and then drove 10 minutes there. But yeah, it's like toward the east side of Columbus. And yeah, close to downtown. But that Bear is amazing. And then they have, actually, if you go to Hilliard they have Bear's Bagels there, which is a newer spot. I'm like talking about all the places I love to eat and stuff, but I'll give you all the tea on like all these little places around. Hilliard's awesome too. Bear's Bagels just opened, I want to say a few years ago. They used to have Coffee Connections is a big coffee place in Hilliard. They have a couple locations, and again, one of my favorites. But they used to sell these bagels, and now they got their own storefront, and they sell Jennings coffee in there. So if you don't want to go all the way out, you can go to Bear's Bagels and get like the cold brew. So
we're gonna have to do an episode just on all the spots.
I know, right? Yes, we're gonna have to. There's so many, and I like, you know, when you're showing and stuff too, you get to know a lot of different areas. So
yes, because you only have 10 minutes between or half hour, and you're like, all right, I gotta stop real quick.
Where's
and
my
grab
caffeine
something.
quick hit?
I like the small shops too and local and everything, but I also love Starbucks. And I just drink black coffee, so it's not.
What's your
it's not like anything special. but they lost their way. Like I like Starbucks for being able to go in and sit and work and like the atmosphere and everything. And now
is it on a timer now or something like
it's
that?
just everything's so small and there's never any spots and it's loud. And I'm just like, it's not what Starbucks used to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The new CEO is supposed to be bringing that back as like the third place.
It's definitely not the chill spot to work anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a pain in the ass. So, cool. So we'll do another one where we're going to talk about all the spots. But if somebody wanted to find you, reach out to you, or buy a house with you, or sell a house, how do they do that?
Yeah, so they're always welcome to text me, like a quick text, and we'll get on a phone call and talk about it. So my number is 740-506-1813. And then you can also email if it's easier. If you have a lot of ideas for your home search, sometimes that's easier. And it's just Roby, R-O-B as in boy, Y, at theucollective.com.
All right. And what can they expect when they first reach out to you?
When they first reach out, I'm going to ask a lot of questions or just let them talk a lot.
Okay.
I want to know everything that you've thought about ever with the home that you might want.
Yeah, because the more you know, the better you can help them, right?
100%. So the more you're talking, the better. So if I'm quiet, it's just because I'm taking notes.
All right. Perfect. I love it. So we will catch you on the next one.
Yep. Thank you.